Helen, good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Grok a warning sign to other labs, a warning sign to governments? How are you looking at this?
I think what we're seeing with Grok the past couple of weeks with these sexually explicit images that the bot has started putting on Twitter at the request of users, or on X, I should say, is just another example of the number of different kinds of issues, risks, problems that AI can bring, and the speed that they get delivered at, which makes it really difficult for policymakers and the public to kind of orient towards what is going on here, what do I need to worry about, what do I not need to worry about. So I see it as kind of yet another example of the difficulty of being really ready for the many different things that AI is bringing us.
Well, some people are saying that Elon Musk is pushing the boundaries, breaking from the norms of the mainstream because he's playing catch up. Should he be allowed to do this? I mean, have you heard of conversations, within the U.S. government on the action to be taken from here?
I mean, there's certainly a lot of concern starting to spring up around what to do about this case. I think a difficulty here is that a way that we have started to think about, or the kind of AI policy community has started to think about risks from AI, is in terms of what is the marginal risk from any new development or any new product or model. And when it comes to this kind of sexualization, the marginal risk here, so the sort of newness of this, is not that high because there have been other products that really offer these same services. So for more than a year, it's been a problem that high schoolers or even middle schoolers or younger can nudify their classmates, for example, which is sort of illegal, clearly illegal. That's child sexual abuse material, but it's already happening with these very hard to control open source apps. And so when you have that on a platform like X, it's suddenly a new level of distribution, but the problem itself isn't new, which makes it a little difficult for policymakers to grapple with kind of what exactly, where do you set the line and how do you enforce that when it's so widespread on kind of the black or gray market already?
So what is the right response? We've seen the likes of Malaysia, Indonesia banning Grok, and some are adopting a wait-and-see attitude, looking for regulatory clarity. What would you like to see?
I mean, a good start is one of the only laws that has been passed in the U.S. on AI is called the Take It Down Act, which basically requires platforms to give users the option to request that content of themselves be taken down, in particular sexually explicit AI-generated content. The challenge is that's not getting implemented until May of this year. And so right now, X has no obligation to have that option available to request content being taken down. Another challenge is how quickly you can do that, because even if the content is taken down within a day or a week, that's plenty of time for people to download it, upload it elsewhere, and then it kind of has a life of its own. So I think that legislation will be definitely a good step and a needed first step, but it's not clear that it's going to be enough.
How about other labs like OpenAI? Should OpenAI, for instance, be forced to have an adult mode? Should it rethink what it offers out there?
I mean, OpenAI has already indicated that they are going to be making explicit content more accessible to their users. CEO Sam Altman has talked about making erotica more easy to create within their products rather than having it be walled off or disallowed the way it has been in the past. As I understand it, they are planning to make that available in some kind of adult mode, and they have also kind of produced a teenager mode for their ChatGPT product as well. So I think this is all moving pretty quickly, and I think the companies as well are repeatedly being taken off guard by sort of the different issues that they need to be able to handle.
Helen, what's the most important change that is necessary to prevent, the worst from happening?
What I'm really seeing consensus in from lots of different people with lots of different views is we need more transparency around advanced AI development, and we also need more ability for independent third parties to go in and check out what the companies are doing. So this doesn't mean governments telling companies what to do or what not to do. It means governments requiring the companies to tell us what they are doing, and then also letting independent certifiers, third-party auditors, testers go in and see, are they doing what they're telling us? Are there things that we're not hearing about that we should be? I think because it is such a fast-moving space, that kind of visibility-focused intervention is the one that we're seeing the most support behind.
So given the developments that we've seen in AI so far, I'm just wondering whether you see a paradigm shift in how people approach AI in 2026.
I think the big thing that we need to see, and that I hope we see, is people starting to recognize that AI is not just chatbots, it's actually all kinds of things. And even if we focus on large language models, which are the kind of AI that powers chatbots, we're really starting to enter the age of agents. And what agents are is basically AI that does something for you. So software engineers are already seeing that AI doesn't just chat with them in a window anymore. It can actually go in and make changes to their code, do things on their computer. It tends to be that software engineering is where we see the impacts of AI first. And I think what we'll see more throughout 2026 is AI agents starting to be more widely deployed for a wider range of use cases, not just coding, but also managing your tasks or helping you take notes or answer emails. And I think it's really important that people recognize that what we're seeing here is AI that can really do things in the real world, not just AI that sort of spits out text.
So in the end, it is about building better AI models. I just want to quote what your former colleague, Ilya Sutskever, did say. She said that the key to building better AI models may be breakthroughs in an approach called continuous learning. Others say that it is the so-called world models. Can you differentiate the two, and what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So those are two big hot topics right now in the world of AI development. So continuous learning, that's getting at this idea that right now, the way that AI chatbots work, large language models work, is there's kind of two places that they can get information. One is in their training phase. So this is in development up front. And this is where they're taking in lots of text from the internet, lots of examples, lots of hard, complicated tasks that the companies develop in order to train their models. That's kind of a one-time thing. But then beyond that, all you can do to give them new information or context or sort of set them up for a task is at the time you're performing that task. So maybe you want them to help you, evaluate a statistical model that someone has created at your workplace. You can give them that statistical model and they can analyze it for you. But what they can't do, and this is what continuous learning is about, is do it once, get feedback from you about how they did that time, do it better the next time, do it better the 10th time, and then the 50th time, have the kind of experience accumulated that a human expert would or a team member would. And so the idea with continuous learning is, can you, instead of just having a one-off training phase and then what gets called the deployment phase or the when you actually use it, can you have something in between that is improving the model over time, which is not the way that they currently work. In contrast, world models.
Right, go ahead.
Yeah, so world models is a different approach, which is getting at the idea that language models so far have largely just been trained on text. So all they know about the world is things that they have seen in text descriptions of the world. They're not like a human baby or even a dog or a squirrel that can go out and interact with the world and really try to understand kind of how does physics work? Do things fall when you drop them? Things like that. How do people around me interact or react when I say things to them? And so the idea of world models is trying to get more of a grounded understanding and a grounded model of kind of what is actually happening in the world when the chatbot or when the AI system is doing things.
Helen, we know that you were in China quite recently, and we heard from China saying that, perhaps its AI may not be able to leapfrog as fast as the US because of limitations. What's your take on what you saw there in terms of AI development?
Yeah, China has really been going as hard and fast as they can on AI. They recognize that this is a huge deal, and they are trying to make use of it throughout their society. I was there in July 2025 at the World AI Conference, which was a really interesting event. One thing that really stood out to me was even just the messaging around what is going on with AI. This was the same week that the Trump administration released their AI action plan, which was very much framed around U.S. dominance, around the U.S. winning the race, a very kind of America first approach, unsurprisingly. And at the same time, China was hosting an event, this World AI Conference, that was based around global solidarity in the AI era, meaning we're China, we're here to help you, we want to help you develop the best applications you can, we want to help you grow, help you develop. And of course, there's lots more to say about whether countries should take that at face value from China, but in terms of how they're trying to position themselves, they are not focusing on, do we need to be out ahead and sort of quote unquote winning? They're focusing on that kind of broad deployment, trying to get other countries on side in a way that I think the U.S., at least in terms of rhetoric, is less focused on.
Is that the right way to think, the way China thinks? And I'm just wondering, in terms of AI ecosystem in China, how does it compare to the U.S. and Europe, for that matter?
I think the AI ecosystem in China, like the US, is changing fast, and so can be hard to get a handle on. One thing that is notably different is how widespread the open release of models there is, meaning that the so-called weights, or sort of the statistical values that make up an AI model, are posted freely online for anyone to use. This is a really great strategy if you are not the leader. It's a great strategy for the fast follower, because if you're second or third or fifth in a competition to have the best AI model, what's a way you can distinguish yourself is by making your model freely available. And so that obviously is a strategy that DeepSeek famously took, one of the most famous Chinese companies, but many others are taking it. Alibaba's Qwen models are actually by far the most used open source models in the world, beating out American open source models as well as those of other countries. And many other Chinese companies, Z.AI, Minimax, Moonshot, are similarly releasing their models openly.
So, Helen, despite the fact that China says it's going to be hard for it to leapfrog in terms of AI development, is it leading in some areas like surveillance, like biotech, autonomous, for instance?
It's certainly leading in surveillance. I think from the beginning, you've seen in Western democracies at best a yellow light on things like AI for facial recognition or voice recognition, whereas in China, the government has thrown its full weight behind those applications from the beginning. So it's not surprising that they are leading there. I think in other applications, it tends to be a little less clear. They're generally right up there with the U.S. in many cases. Typically, the U.S. does have the edge. One that we're seeing a lot of discussion of this past few months will be really interesting to watch in 2026 is robotics, including industrial robotics. China is far outstripping the rest of the world in terms of how many industrial robots they're installing. And they're certainly showing lots of very exciting looking demonstrations of robots that can kickbox or do flips or do cool choreography. There's of course a gap between those cool demonstrations and actual real world use cases. And US companies are also developing quite impressive robotics. So it's not clear that China has the edge there, but I think that's going to be a growing segment of the AI market, and it's going to be really interesting to watch.